This is going to be an unboxing and mini review of my Grizzly spiral cutter head. I bought the Grizzly T27695 cutter, which is going to be used in my Jet 15-inch planer. I also want to compare it to, in some way, the Bird Helix cutter head, which is more popular and more well known. I don't have a 15-inch bird cutter to compare it to directly. However, I have an 8-inch that I use in my jointer, and this should allow me to at least compare the inserts. One of the first differences that I noticed is where they're manufactured. Grizzly manufactures theirs in China, and Bird manufactures theirs in the US, which possibly accounts for a difference in quality, maybe a difference in performance, but most likely it accounts for a difference in price. I paid $5.25 for the Grizzly as opposed to $6.75, which is what the Bird would have cost, and both were on sale through the Grizzly website when I bought mine. Another difference that's apparent to me is the gap distance between the cutting surface of the insert and the cylinder. The Bird has a larger gap. I actually measured this, and I'll get to this later. As far as similarities go, we can see that both have very similar designs. We can see that the inserts in both the Bird and the Grizzly cutter head contact the wood at a shear angle as opposed to perpendicular to the face, as some of the spiral cutter heads do. We'll take a closer look at the inserts in a few, but now let's get to unboxing. Now, I've purchased a few tools from Grizzly in the past, and one area where, in my experience, they consistently fall short is quality control on their products leaving their warehouse. I had an issue with a table saw that I bought a while back and had to return it twice for the same issue. I'll post a link to a short video about that in the comments section below. When I received this box, I could see right away that it had been dropped. A portion of the box was detached and taped back together, and I figured that the cutter head was created in a wooden box inside the cardboard box, so I didn't think I really had too much to worry about. I think what they do is they use the same cardboard box to ship either the 15 or the 20-inch cutter head. So when they put the 15-inch cutter head in there, this leaves a large gap, and instead of centering the crate in the cardboard box, they offset it to one side. The cutter weighs about 30 pounds or so, and this asymmetrical weight distribution makes it easy to see how somebody could pick up the box near the center only to have it slip out of their hands. Now, taking a closer look at the wood crate, you can see that it's cracked on the exterior. When I removed the crate, I could hear that the cutter head was moving around inside. I opened the box and saw the shaft at one end slipped out of its support when the support broke away, and you could actually see the exposed nails and the damaged wood. So this box clearly sustained some kind of impact. Inside the crate was this package that contained a couple of wrenches, a couple of bits that maybe you could use in an impact driver, I'm not sure, and 3 extra bolts and 5 extra inserts. Here I removed an insert from the Bird cutter head so I can compare it to the Grizzly insert. Both are carbide tipped and are nearly identical in their top-down profile as well as their side profiles. Measurements taken using a dial gauge from the ends in the center are identical down to the 100th of a millimeter. The only difference I found was the diameter of the hole in the center. The Bird was slightly larger. And here's the side profile. Both measure the same thickness. Now back to the gap space that I talked about earlier, the one that exists between the cutter surface and the cylinder. I compared the Grizzly to the Bird in my jointer, and both have identical size cylinders, and as we saw, they have the same size cutter inserts. The Bird had an about 3 millimeter wider gap than the Grizzly, 7.4 compared to 4.4 millimeters. Although there is a difference, I'm not sure there's any measurable advantage to having it one way or the other. Perhaps one is better at clearing out chips. I'm not sure. Your guess is as good as mine. That's it for this video. I'm going to contact Grizzly about the box being damaged, and depending on what they say, I should get around to installing this within the next few weeks, and I'll probably make a video about the cut quality once it's done. I don't really make or post videos on YouTube typically, however, I decided to do it for this cutter head since I really didn't find any other videos discussing the Grizzly spiral cutters.